Welcome to today's Chamber Live event. It's great to see so many people joining us today. My name's Chris Fletcher. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to be hosting today. If we just go over the ground rules again for any Zoom calls, we'll put everyone on mics on mute, then we don't get any sort of Amazon delivery doorbells going or anything like that going on in the background. Obviously, if you do have any questions you want to ask or anything like that, please put them in the chat box. There's already a bit of chat going on there as well. Bipin's wished everyone Merry Christmas, which is the first one of the year. So Merry Christmas to everyone else. Not quite sure what's behind that one, but Christmas will soon be with us. So we're going to record the event today as we do. We're going to then upload it onto YouTube and also podcast it as well. So if there's anything that you do want to listen back to, please look out for that in the next 24 hours. And we'll be able to listen again, as it were, to anything that's happened today. We've got a lot on today. We're going to be here till round about 10:30, 10:45, and we've got quite a bit to get through as usual. Updates on everything that the Chamber's up to, updates on membership services. We've got some announcements to make today, some celebrations to make as well to some of our members, as well as finding out a little bit more about some of the services and work that we're doing here at the Chamber. And it's certainly been an eventful 2 weeks since our last Chamber Live event. I was just having a look yesterday, and 2 weeks ago Liverpool wasn't in Tier 3. They went in the day after, so that just sets the time scale of what's been going on over the last 2 weeks. And it's something we have been on top of at the Chamber, and through our research that we've done, our surveys, one thing and another. We'd previously seen the quarterly economic survey, but we do our recovery tracker survey every couple of weeks as well. And I'd like to now hand over to our head of research, Subra, that's going to give the latest results for our most recent recovery tracker this morning. So Subra, over to you.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. It's very nice to see a lot of you here, as Chris just mentioned. I just want to present to you the results of the sixth GM COVID-19 recovery tracker. This is a series of ongoing surveys. We did the first of these surveys way back in March. We then have had the 2 quarterly surveys in between, and then we have started the recovery tracker again. So what are we going to look into within the recovery tracker? The usual economic measures, customer demand, sales, advance orders. This time I have actually started bringing in the international related balances, export orders, export sales. That's because Brexit is upon us. We have just over 8 weeks now. So clearly that's something that many businesses will be interested in. And then, of course, changes to workforce, particularly important given the deadline of 31st of October. For the furlough scheme, cash flow positions, business confidence, some issues of concern, that sort of thing. Okay, so what are the results looking like? Long has been my desire, to be honest, to actually come into one of these events and actually give you lots of positive news about how well the economy is growing, how well the recovery is going, and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, today is not that day. And just as the weather looks dark and dismal, I think the economic forecast is also going to look a bit dark and dismal. So what do we have upon us at the moment? Now, the data clearly reflects the uncertainty over the past few weeks, the fact that Greater Manchester has now entered Tier 3 restrictions in the last week. What that means is that there has been a depressing effect on customer sales, on revenues, on turnover of many businesses. Now, the businesses across the board have been affected, but clearly this is being led by the hospitality sector. But do bear in mind, the hospitality sector does have an ecosystem, an entire supply chain built around it. And so when there are bad effects on that sector, clearly it is a ripple effect on other parts of the economy as well. So what we have is the balances relating to customer demand are still negative, but they have gone lower than that they were in the third week of September, which is when we launched the results of the QES for the third quarter. So the balances relating to customer sales are now -25. Advance orders going down even further. It's at -27. Having said that, there is one element of positive news, which is that retail sales have continued to grow. So for 5 months now, the data is available until September. Retail sales have actually keep on growing. 1.7% growth in September compared to the previous month. So retail sales are growing. They're still lower than that they were beginning of this year. So we have not kind of crossed and grown upon the pre-pandemic levels. So that's on domestic demand. The balances are lower than they were in September. Just as a quick note, for those of you who are new to this, when we present the results of our economic surveys, we present them as balances. Balances being the difference between the proportion of positive responses and the proportion of negative responses to that particular question. And if you have a number which is below zero, the zero line here is important, then it means that more and more businesses are reporting a decrease in sales or a decrease in revenue, as the case may be. Okay, so the negative responses are higher in number, therefore the balances are all negative. Okay, so that's on domestic demand. International demand, on the other side, is actually looking slightly better. But I must caution you, the international balances have been pretty volatile for quite some time. This is partially because of the sample. Not all of the businesses or vast majority of the businesses within the sample may actually be exporting. But it is good news, especially with Brexit on the agenda now, that the balances have actually gone up compared to even the first tracker of September, which was the fifth recovery tracker. So clearly there is some improvement there. And also I know that in the export documentation volume that the chamber has processed, the volume has held steady in August, and there was an improvement in September, and October is looking on target for there to be a slight increase in September. But still, our volumes are roughly 25 to 30% lower than they were in 2019. But for now, international balances are doing better than domestic balances. What does that translate into in terms of cash positions? So when you have businesses taking in less revenue, clearly cash flow positions have weakened. It could also be reflective of the fact that many businesses in the supply chain are now struggling. So there has been a significant drop in cash flow positions. -15 it was in the QES results from September. It's now -35. So there has been a weakening in cash flow positions. That's a particular concern because it constrains the ability of businesses to improve employment. But business confidence is low. Business investment prospects are low because of cash flow positions and the uncertain outlook. So the combination of low demand and weak cash flow positions, how is that affecting employment? Now, I have just split it into percentages from the latest recovery tracker. Actually, there is a typo there. It shouldn't say the fourth on the bottom left. It should say the sixth recovery tracker. I do apologize. But what I have seen is that if you look into those two red bars on either of those charts, the proportion of businesses which are now starting to say that the number of workers have actually decreased is starting to go up slightly. Having said that, the majority of businesses, 75% of businesses said their workforce has remained stable in the last fortnight. 78% are saying that their workforce is expected to stay stable in the next fortnight. But the proportion of businesses which are saying that the workforce digits to now firmly double digits, so 16% and 15%. And this is something we have to keep an eye on because the furlough scheme comes to an end later this week. And then we have to understand how the new job support scheme is going to work. It may indeed cushion the blow, but clearly what impact is that going to have on employment, especially as we enter a potentially weak and challenging festive trading season for retail and hospitality. So employment prospects at the moment slightly worse than we would like them to be. And then finally, business confidence. So the combination of weak demand, poor cash flow positions, etc., have affected business confidence. So more and more businesses are now in that decreased category. So the red lines have actually started going from less than 40% of businesses saying that they actually expect their turnover to decrease. Now it's creeping up to nearly half, but margins have been squeezed. And this is the key concern, I think, for many businesses at the moment. They are having to discount and their profitability prospects are actually lower. 54% of businesses are saying that they expect their profitability to be lower in the medium to long term, based on their experience during this pandemic. Okay, so what does this all mean then for our short-term economic outlook? So please do bear in mind, this is a short-term economic outlook. If you have been attending these briefings regularly, or if you attended the QES briefing, then this chart was looking very differently. This chart was looking more like a Nike swoosh, where we have a slow, gradual recovery into October, November. Clearly, that has changed now. Initially, we only had a kind of a one scenario based on the data that we were gathering. We then had to convert that into a sort of a best case scenario and a more realistic scenario based on more recent data sets. What this is looking like at the moment is, if there is a slight turnaround now, especially as we enter the festive season, the best case scenario is that we will have economic stability. So the balances are expected to stay the same. So roughly between 20 and 25, the balances are expected to stay there. But it looks to me that the more realistic scenario is that there is going to be a worsening. So if you look into that red line and the yellowish line, which are slowly pointing downwards, that is based on the modeling from more recent samples. And I think the balances are starting to creep towards minus 30. I know these balances are all looking very similar. And I think there is a reason for that, which is that now our best case scenario is actually worsening. And the worst case scenario is also either stable or slightly lower than what we would have expected them to be. So clearly the short-term economic prospect based on customer demand data is not looking very positive at this moment. So it was not my intention to come and give you bad news this morning, but I have to give you the true picture. This is what the data says, and that is what I will say. In terms of national data sets, is it authentic? Yes, the ONS's latest coronavirus business impact survey is mirroring this trend. That's a national survey. The data only goes back to the first week of October. This data goes back to last Friday, so this is up to date as you can get it. But that's what the data is showing, unfortunately, and hopefully, before long, I will be able to come into one of these events and then cheer you up. I'll hand over back to you, Chris.
Hi there, Subra. I think Chris is having a few difficulties at the moment with his computer, so I think he's left us and will be returning to the meeting. But I just thought we'd grab this opportunity before moving on to Amy and her international update. There was a couple of questions that arose in the chat while you were speaking. So the first one was both of them were with regards to retail. Patricia Shea and Ram Gupta both asked about retail sales and what you feel is driving the good retail sales, and also are those retail sales a combination of on-site sales and online sales?
Yes, thank you, Lewis. That's a very good question. Something that happened during the pandemic early on was the boost that e-commerce got. So over the past sort of 3 or 4 years, since 2015, 2016, online sales component, e-commerce sales have averaged at roughly 19% of overall retail sales. In May, it was 1/3. And that was because the overall volume of retail sales had slightly decreased, but e-commerce went up within that. It has now come down slightly to about 27.5%, but that is still significantly higher than what it was even in January. What is driving retail sales? Number one, food shopping has actually gone up, which is very interesting. So food shopping is now 5.5% higher than what it was in February. So that's number one. Number two, home improvements. And clearly this is a project that many people have taken on. I think it is a big driver of the overall increase in retail sales. And I know that the big DIY chains have actually reported very good increase in revenues for the second and the third quarters. So I think that is what is driving retail sales. But I think festive shopping is probably starting to creep in. You would have, if you are an Amazon customer or a Prime customer, you would have seen the notifications come through in the last couple of days about early launch of Prime sales. So I think e-commerce is a big driver, but within that, I think it's home improvements and food shopping, which is driving it. Does that answer the question, Ram and Patricia?
Fantastic, that's great, Subra. I think we've got Chris back with us now after his technical gremlins were fixed. So I'll pass you back over to Chris.
Okay, thanks very much, Lewis, and apologies everyone. No idea what happened there. The machine just decided it wasn't playing anymore and decided just to quit on me completely. But anyway, live Zoom technology there at its finest. So thanks very much, Subra, for that. And again, I caught most of the presentation before my enforced break here, and some really worrying things going on there. And I recall going back to the first time we launched the recovery tracker, and where we were looking at crossing that positive line, and it should have happened, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And as you can see, the numbers are definitely going in the wrong way yet. But it's one of those things. Obviously, this pandemic has still got quite a bit of time to play out, and one thing and another. It's so important that we do keep on top of all this, so that when things happen like they have done over the last couple of weeks, we can represent what is actually happening within the business community and genuinely respond to things, and hopefully inform government and other key decision makers over what is actually needed to make sure that we can protect our businesses in Greater Manchester. So thank you for that. We're now going to move on to our second section for today's event, and I'd like to ask Amy Swindles to join us from our trade team and give us an update on how they're supporting companies through the current issues and what's happening in the world of international trade. Amy, over to you.
Thanks, Chris. Morning, everyone. So we have another issue coming up, which is the end of the transition period, and things seem to be really picking up within the international team now. So I just wanted to give you a couple of updates on campaigns and also what we've got coming up to support people as we reach the end of the transition period. You've probably seen the government support ramping up now. The time is running out campaign with the adverts. I've seen one this morning telling customers to check customs procedures, travelling, work permits, whether qualifications are going to be valid if you are trading and delivering services in the EU. We've had lots of queries on VAT and the implications of that, so we have a range of experts on hand to offer advice, and we're still running our masterclasses fortnightly, so we do have one coming up on VAT if there's anybody that's concerned about that after Brexit. Just a couple of more positive announcements. So we've seen the launch of the Export Growth Plan from Department for International Trade over the last couple of weeks. We're still waiting to hear exactly what that's going to involve, but around £38 million worth of funding for SMEs, and that will be also allocated some to our region. So hopefully that's going to be able to be used on some training and consultancy as well, given the limitations in attending trade exhibitions that we have currently. So we'll keep you posted. We're hoping that somebody from DIT will join us when we have the announcement on exactly what that will look like. Just a reminder that there's still some customs grants available from HMRC administered through PwC, so that's up to £1,500 worth of training to help companies prepare for the end of the transition period, and it does have to involve customs declarations, but we've got lots of companies that we've had and we've supported through that, and we deliver some training ourselves that are eligible for that 100% grant. So please get in touch if you want any more details on that. We've seen some updates on the UK border operating model as well over the last few weeks. So the intended locations for checks away from the port. So we've seen the announcement of one in Warrington. We're getting lots of questions from our logistic companies as well. So there's the check your HGV is ready, and there's some more guidance on that and how hauliers need to prepare for the end of the transition period, and also on the Kent access permit. So for goods going to Dover and Folkestone, that permit that we'll need. And we had Michael Gove on a webinar a couple of weeks ago how that's actually going to work and how the cameras are going to know whether you're just locally trading or you are going to the EU. So we didn't really get any answers on that, but we do have our British Chambers of Commerce team pushing as well. So updates, we're going to see a 50 days to go webinar on the 11th of November. And also 30 days to go on the 1st of December, and that will be with Liam, our Director of Trade Facilitation at the British Chamber of Commerce. He's sitting on lots of HMRC committees and obviously working with governments, so they're free for members, so please tune in. I'll post the links in the chat after this. And yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, just one last thing. We have our Meet the Expert events coming up on the 5th, 6th and 10th of November. We're going to be focusing on Europe, then one on Middle East and Africa, and then one on Asia as well. And again, we'll have logistics, VAT, documentation experts available in the Europe session for anyone that wants to ask one-to-one questions. Again, it's free for members. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much, Amy. And again, very comprehensive update there, and a real good spread of activity going on. Something that is obviously seems to have been around for years and years with Brexit. Now it is really becoming coming up to crunch time. And just listening to some of that conversation there, you know, the 11th of November is 50 days to the end of transition period. So this really is now beginning to move into that end game, as it were, as regards Brexit. But again, we've got experts here. We've got, you know, people in-house in the chamber that know this stuff inside out, can point you in the right direction. And we work with a huge range of partners, both here in the UK and right across the world as well, and also tap in to that expertise through British Chambers of Commerce as well, where a lot of this work is being done directly into government to make sure that those decisions are being done with the best interests of business at heart. So it's vitally important now more than ever. Keep us informed of what you want to see, your problems, your issues, help, guidance, or whatever it is. Please just get in touch with us now more than ever, so we can help you through the next few months and beyond once that transition period has actually ended. So thank you, Amy, for that. Now I'm going to hand over to Lewis for our membership slot, and a couple of things to celebrate and to promote today. And then we've got an interview with Ram Gupta from Nibble. But first of all, before that, I'll hand over to Lewis.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much, Chris. So as Chris mentioned, I've got a few updates that are all positive. I'm sure you'll be glad to hear. So firstly, I'd like to take the opportunity to congratulate some of our chamber members, actually, who have been recognised by the Chamber of Commerce Network as UK Business Heroes. So we've been working very closely with the British Chambers of Commerce over the past month or so to identify some of the companies within our membership who have gone above and beyond during 2020, particularly to support local communities during the pandemic. We were extremely proud when 20 of the companies from the Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce were selected and recognised for their fantastic work. And they have now been announced as UK Business Heroes 2020. So what I'll do is I'd just like to announce the 20 companies that have been successful and congratulate them wholeheartedly, both from myself and from the wider chamber team. So we're delighted to announce that this year's UK Business Heroes from the Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce are Alderman's Drinks, Boo Consulting, Crystal Doors, HMG Paints, Hotel Football, JCM, Manchester Central, Manchester Gym, Native Manchester, Open Kitchen, the Brick Homeless Project, the Stock Exchange Hotel, United We Stream, Vermilion, Ultimate Products, Tibbard, Connect Medical Systems, NSPCC, and finally the Met in Bury. So these successful business heroes will all be receiving a digital marketing toolkit from ourselves at the Chamber. So I'm sure you'll see them shouting about their achievements and celebrating. Please visit any of their websites as well to learn more about the work they've done during this period. But it's really fantastic to hear some really good news stories coming out of what has been a very difficult year for everybody. And it's a really great example of seeing the strong business community that we've got in Manchester pulling together to help one another and to provide support during a real testing time. So a huge congratulations to all those businesses involved, and it makes us very proud as a chamber to think that this is just a small selection of the people that we had in membership who were really pulling together and helping each other during 2020. Fantastic. So on to the next announcement for myself. I wanted to give you a bit of an update on something that you will have heard us speak about a little bit over the past few months, which is the announcement of our Skills for Growth program, which will be launching very soon. So following on from a hugely successful skills brokerage program, where we supported a lot of businesses over the past few months, we'll actually be starting a new ESF funded GMCA commissioned Skills for Growth SME support service. So what that is for businesses in Greater Manchester in partnership with the Growth Company to help them in adapting, changing and upskilling their staff to face new challenges. So we have our team in place already to provide this fully funded support. And as I say, it's there to help businesses to adapt, upskill, recruit, and basically explore new ways of working due to what's happened this year. So we're providing all of our members and businesses in Greater Manchester with the opportunity to sit down and assess their business needs with one of our skills coaches, who can then help you to identify the opportunities that are available for you to upskill any existing staff members, particularly where you may need to be adaptable and pivot in terms of the type of responsibilities they have, and also to prepare your business for the future. So if you're interested in hearing more about the Skills for Growth program, or would like to arrange a meeting with one of our coaches, then please contact the membership team here at the Chamber. The program itself will be launching within the coming weeks and is available for all SMEs, so under 250 employees. And we'd be delighted to talk you through it and give you a bit more information. And that will be a long-term project that we have available. So even if you feel like you're not quite ready for a meeting at this stage, get in touch and we can plan a meeting for the future as well to help and support you. And then last and by no means least, as Chris mentioned, we have got an interview today where we are focusing on the launch of our brand new service, GM Tech Support, which is powered by our partners, Nibble. So we're very, very pleased to be joined today by Ram Gupta, who is the Managing Director of Nibble. He'll be speaking to Chris about the new partnership itself and the support that we provide for GM Chamber members through this partnership. So really interested to hear more. So I'll pass you back over to Chris.
I'm in trouble with my machine today. Thanks very much, Lewis, which is rather ironic considering we're talking about GM Tech Support. I think I could do with some of that myself today, never mind anything else. So thanks, Lewis, and good morning, Ram. Great to have you on the call today to tell us a little bit more about this service. But first of all, it'd be probably good if you tell us a little bit more about Nibble.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody who's joined us this morning, and thank you for the very insightful data on the economic recovery. It's encouraging to see that we are trending sort of flat or upwards. But yeah, anyway. So Nibble, Nibble formed 20-something years ago on a credit card. We've since now employ over 80 staff around the UK through our various businesses. And we're sort of continuing to grow in the managed IT sector, the audiovisual sector, and the software development and application sector, including cloud. We've grown organically. We've wanted to be the richer sounds of the IT world, and hopefully, we're trying to provide the relevant services, supporting services to businesses throughout and beyond this COVID crisis to try and help businesses be the best they can in use of their IT.
Brilliant, that's absolutely superb. And obviously, we're working in partnership with ourselves at the Chamber. We've launched the GM Tech Support. What is that exactly, Ram? What benefits will it bring to members?
So the GM Tech Support is a partnership between the Chamber and Nibble IT, and it's not just a formal handshake partnership. It's a partnership of almost two sort of like-minded organisations trying to offer, again, that very valuable support that the GM Chamber offers, just in enhancing what they do. So in terms of the benefits to the membership is you can access us, as in Nibble, through the Chamber at any point in time. So if you're struggling with an IT problem, you've got an IT issue, you want some advice on strategy, you want some advice on what you should be doing, perhaps, or is what you're doing the right thing, then the Chamber has very kindly sort of put this service together for the membership, whereby they can now call upon us powered by the GM Chamber, to just give that confidence to the GM Chamber membership that they are doing the right thing in terms of their IT. As well as that, we have lots of different offers that we can give to exclusively to GM Chamber members.
Okay, I'm always up for news of a good exclusive offer. So what else could we be looking at there for our members?
So yeah, so I mean, in terms of offers, we have a new starter offer whereby we're offering 3 networked PCs sort of delivered into your office, fully set up for under £1,000. We've got offers on web. We've got offers on antivirus security, cyber security. We have offers all the way around from the cloud offering all the way through to cyber security as a service. As well as that, you have access to us and our team, where we're very friendly. We do know what we're talking about some of the time, depending on what time of the day you get us. And if you call us, then we'll give you the best genuine IT advice we possibly can.
Okay, that's brilliant. And one final thing, Rob, is it aimed at any sort of size business in particular, or is there a certain sort of sweet spot in the market that this service really is aimed at?
I think traditionally, all the best advice and support is always available to the larger businesses. So what we're trying to do here, and again, the GM Chamber has been brilliant in sort of putting this together, is trying to offer the same level of support and advice to some of the smaller businesses. So whether you're a one-man band or whether you've got 250 seats or above, you'll get the same support, the same advice, and you'll get the same product and level of service that you'd get. So it's making IT accessible to all, really, and that's what the GM Chamber is really putting together with this partnership.
Okay, Ram, that's absolutely superb. Thank you so much for joining us today, and it's great to be working with you. I know for myself that your attitude and everything is absolutely spot on, which is why it's so great to be working with yourself and Nibble, obviously, helping bring that support to our members. And I really pick up on your points as well you made around, pushing things forward, supporting businesses now more than ever, no matter what it is. At any time, you always need that element of business support, but it can be very lonely out there, or feel very lonely at the present moment in time. So to have somebody like you working with us at the Chamber really is a great combination. Ram, thank you very much for joining us today to tell us a little bit more about our new service, GM Tech Support. Thank you. And that just about wraps things up for today's Chamber Live, everyone. Apologies for just losing myself halfway through the presentation from Subra this morning. No idea what went on there, but we all got back in the end. Absolutely superb. Congratulations once again to all our business champions. They're absolutely superb business heroes, absolutely superb examples of what can be done. And again, there's been a lot of negativity flying around, I think, and still is quite a bit flying around over the last couple of weeks around things and one thing and another. It's so important, as I've said, that we do recognise that business community spirit that we have in Greater Manchester. It is a bit different from other places in the country. We've got some fantastic local businesses. We've got some fantastic local business people, and events like this and others that we do throughout the Chamber is an opportunity to bring people together to work, to find out, to make new connections, and obviously do the right thing, as I said, for the entire Greater Manchester business community, and also Greater Manchester as a community as well. It isn't just about business. We as business leaders have got an awful lot to do in that wider community. And again, now more than ever, they need that help and support as well.